Am I live? I think I might be. Excellent. I think I am indeed somewhat live. Just put this link in the places. I'm putting the wrong link in the places. That's the link that I need. There we go. Just make sure it's gone in the right place. All right. Well, good evening, everyone. I am Bad Tempered Badger, and we're here tonight to attempt to raise some funding for the Rainforest Fund. Save the Amazon Rainforest is currently rather on fire. Oh, look who's here.
Hello. Let me put my earpiece in.
Well,
Oh, there's so much feedback. That's awful.
There he is.
I had the iPad and I've got you coming out of the laptop and I'm talking into the microphone.
Outstanding. That's the best way to do it.
Hello, 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 hello. Right, there we go.
So, about this here rainforest.
Oh, God. Yeah, right. Where to begin?
Well,
did you manage to see the video I did?
I did, yes.
Wonderful.
I understand that it's rather on fire.
Yeah, pretty much. So what, if people haven't seen the original video I made about a week ago, this live stream marathon that we are now on, it was started with me. We just had Lavender Lady, now with Badger, and we're going to be with Neil 6480, and Jim Majors, and Progressive Liberal, Not Jar Witness, much later on, and
Indeed. Yeah. Oh, we've got Faye joining us down here. If you just give us a second.
Hey.
Hi.
Hello.
I've only got 20 minutes, but I wanted to join and say hello.
Hello there.
I like this project.
It's a very good idea. I'm rather keen on it myself. It'd be better if the rainforest wasn't on fire, but
yeah, of course. Just to clarify, I think given the scope for what smaller YouTubers can do, it's completely unrealistic to expect donations just yet, as it were. The best thing we can probably do realistically is signal boost. It's mass retweeting, mass liking, mass sharing. At the minute, I'm just going through all the different things. So I've put out a number of tweets. Every time, say, Neil's retweeted it with a message. So when you press retweet on Twitter, it says retweet with comment. So the best thing you can do is retweet with comment, if I can talk at midnight. So there's one that's just came in from the Geek Room. So I'm going to retweet with comment on that. So now live with Badger, and I'm going to tag you in it. Bad Tempered Badger. I'm going to try and find the link and throw the link in to that as well. So basically just start a mass retweeting just to get people's attention. So we've already got the attention of people like Fila Bianca and Jamie Boone, and they seem keen to play off Talk Heathen and Atheist Experience, which would be the best possible outcome in terms of donations and getting momentum, because it's not going to come from our channels. We're too small. So if we can get it all the way on to Atheist Experience with, what is it, 250,000 subs, then we can make any, the donation target that we want. So I mean, this is coming in the middle of what is now a very busy week. Actually, there's been a lot going on this week. I know you wanted to talk about single-use plastics at one point.
I do indeed. That I think. Ooh, that's not the right link. Just let me find the link to the actual fundraiser. So I'll put it in this tweet.
Yep, everyone can find it on my Twitter at WarleyDR. Don't follow me. You can follow Badger and you can follow Faye.
No, I don't follow you at all. I didn't even know this was happening.
Stalked me.
I just suddenly found myself live.
You just happened to go live.
So right about this single-use plastics idea. I reckon that would be better as a sort of a pre-planned thing. But if you want to just have a little chat about it while we're here, I do have a few little comments on it, and I'd love to hear your input as well, Faye.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I may need a little bit of hand with the talking because I have a bit of a sore throat this evening.
Well, single-use plastic kind of bothers me. I get why the medical industry would do that, but at the same time, there's many products that come into somebody's home that isn't meant to be used more than once.
Mm-hmm.
And I found out that we were exporting our recyclables to another country, China, and they no longer want to do our recycling.
Actually, can I jump in?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Faye.
It's fine.
I hate interrupting. I would say, from my experience, that just triggers a thought I haven't thought of in a long time. When I was working in America and staying with host families, I ended up coming across various different families on that West Coast, sort of California, Oregon area, that couldn't recycle at all. Like at all, anything. Nothing was done by like local council or anything. It's not. I expect Badger for you. It's the same here, where I can get various different things recycled: plastic bottles, cardboard, that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm. It was the same. What am I talking about? Right, there we go. It was the same in a previous workplace of mine, actually. I used to work in a retail establishment. Nothing was recycled because there wasn't a bin for it. And even if there was, nobody would have had time to do it because the place was so short-staffed. Everybody just about had time at the end of the day to sweep everything into the main bin. So I think part of the problem is just that people don't have the time or the energy or the inclination to care enough to properly or even at all attempt to recycle. This goes for both individuals and corporations and governments, that it's just not high enough on the agenda, that the environment is in crisis.
Mm-hmm. Now, we do have a bit of a trash issue in my area. What we were doing was the township was coming around in a pickup truck. Yeah, it's that small. And picking up garbage. However, the recycling could only be labeled as a number 2, and everything else had to go in the regular trash, which bothered
Number
me.
2.
Yeah, okay, I get it. Anyway. However, now they refuse to have trash pickup, so we have to rent a can from a garbage company who comes and picks up recycling and things like that. But the rules with the recycling are just as stringent. And not really all plastics, not really all cardboard, not really all this, that, and the other thing. There's so many limitations on it. It's not real. And, for the most part, we don't know what to do. Plus, we're no longer allowed to bring our electronics in. No refrigerators, no air conditioners, no microwaves, no appliances.
Interesting.
So they're building up. What are we to do? Because I know one thing, my washing machine, what, 15 years ago, if I bought a washing machine, it would last me 40 years. Now they build them to break.
Mm.
The last one I
Having the
had
same
only
problem with our
lasted
oven at the moment.
4 years,
yeah.
and I don't know what to do with it. If it dies, what do I do with the old one? There's no place to take it.
Another thing that, well, let me ask you actually first: is there a place you can take larger items, like a recycling center or something like that?
We have a weigh station, but they don't accept appliances.
No. Because around here, I don't know if it's the same way you are, Mr. Worley. We have a local kind of recycling center. We can take larger items, and they are supposedly sorted and disposed of properly. But
Supposedly, yeah.
yeah. Having been on a semi-official kind of visit to several aspects of the local waste disposal service, the problem is, well, part of the problem is time and organization. It's because there's certain things that aren't got rid of very effectively, and
Lost
Oh.
you.
Is that frozen up?
I think so.
I thought it was me for a second.
No.
Oh dear. I can pick up from there, particularly with what Hey Staggers and Jags in the comments. He says number 2 is easy to recycle. I'm going to start doing it myself next month. Large scale recycling is a lie,
don't
and I
mind me,
take
I'm
stuff like that to the
just
scrapyard.
breaking my internet connection.
Yeah, we assumed so. Don't worry. We had you covered.
Considering the amount of trash Americans make, we really don't have ways of dealing with our plastic that are acceptable. And we have this, I like to call it a landfill culture. You get extra plastic with your Happy Meal. Must there be a plastic toy in everything? If you go in some of our stores, it's plastic everything. There's no way to dispose of that plastic. Like,
Local shop
yeah,
down here, we had the issue of plastic wrapped bananas at one point.
We have them.
what the
You
what?
kind of go, well, your bananas do actually wrap themselves. You don't really need to put them in plastic.
Right.
I was buying some for, because the schools are back, and I'm back working in schools, and I'm getting the food shop for the after school club, and I'm like in a rush trying to minimize what plastic I can, and I can still get bananas in plastic, and often if you buy it loose, it's more expensive.
That makes no sense.
Why?
You would have to pay for the packaging, but apparently not.
Exactly.
You have to pay for not the packaging.
When I was, please go ahead, Faye.
No, I'm sorry. Go on.
Sorry. The only thing I was going to add to that was the very same thing. Some of you might recognize when I have Nightbot in my stream, and if you type broccoli, it says shut the fuck up. And that's because with the last time I was explaining this, I messed up when I pronounced broccoli. So when I went to buy some broccoli, I found that if I bought it loose, it was more expensive than buying it already pre-cut up into its little florets and packaged and frozen. Like, that was cheaper than just getting it. Like, what? Doesn't make any sense.
No, it doesn't. That doesn't make any sense at all.
We've got the same problem around here. The thing that I have heard as a protest to this, that I somewhat disagree with, is taking all the plastic and just dumping it back in the shop where you got the whatever the item is from. Now, I don't disagree with it in principle, because I think it should really be up to the manufacturers and the resellers not to have so much plastic. It's not actually the people who make the decisions who are dealing with that. It's the frontline retail people who are working for very little money and not getting any help. And none of the management will actually listen to them. They just said, "Oh, look, I've got a ton of plastic to deal with today, as well as all the shelves I need to restock."
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah, so that's the only reason that I disagree with that form of protest. If it's taken there all bundled up so it can be passed on to the management or something, and said, "Look, here's all this plastic that people have brought back in. We don't need this plastic to sell it to people." That might help. It's just try not to make it extra work for the people who already have too much work to do.
For sure. I'm just going to quickly get a refill on my drink. I'll be back in a second.
See, I've got a problem with a lot of that. It's okay. My mother raised me to be like, well, if an item doesn't need something, like if it doesn't have to be dyed, like toilet paper.
Yeah.
She's like, why does it matter if your toilet paper matches your decor? That's so stupid. So yeah, I was raised to be environmentally judgmental. I'm okay with that. Really? I don't think she was wrong. So I really, I don't understand what we've done to ourselves in the way that, like, we make the recycling or the just garbage treatment in itself that much more difficult.
Yeah, I much prefer to go to a shop where I give them my money and they just give me the thing I want. And they put the thing directly in my paw and I go home with it. I don't really need to go there and I go and buy a pair of scissors and they are wrapped in plastic that I need the scissors to get them out of, and I can't get them out because the scissors are in the plastic and it's the scissors I need for opening the plastic.
Yes, I just had that happen the other day. And I didn't know how to get the scissors out.
Well, I have a very large knife which I use as a letter opener at home.
Uh-huh.
So I generally use that.
Yeah. I went to my neighbors and I borrowed their scissors.
Oh, dear.
Yes, I was that rude about it. It's like, do you mind? I kind of need some help. They were cool about it. As cool as can be. But, I mean, I'm not. I was raised by an environmental, like, bully, I guess. So, and I'm okay with that. I really am. But we don't really, in the United States, we don't really have a very comprehensive, or I should say responsible way of dealing with our trash. And I don't know why we allow certain things being made then. I mean, if there's no way to deal with the trash of a product, of what it brings, why are they making it?
It's a very good question. I'm personally a big proponent. That's what I'm trying to say. Of personally a big proponent of things being made to last and be repairable.
Yes.
So that I'm not big on consumer culture. I'm quite keen on making things survive as long as they can and be useful for as long as they can.
Just to jump in on that, have you, or either you rather, seen the speech? I'll try and find it and throw it into the description.
Sorry.
Actually, you might have to give me a mod for that. But there's a speech from, not Jack Fresco. Who is it? Oh, I've forgotten his name. Peter Joseph, who has this wonderfully succinct speech about all of this, like how things are designed to. Maybe, I don't know whether it's on purpose, but your battery life gets worse after your contract ends, so it encourages you to buy a new phone, like
Yes.
that sort of thing.
Oh yeah, I've heard a bit about
And
that actually.
Yeah, that sort of thing. That's
I
rampant.
understand that Apple products. I'm not sure if this is correct or if it's other ones, but I heard that Apple products specifically will, when they bring out a new iPhone, the previous one will have an update and suddenly be a bit slow for some odd reason.
Yep.
Yeah,
That is
they say
correct.
it's to elongate its life, which could be true, but
I don't think
yeah,
it is true.
I don't think it is either. I mean, I've just recently jumped from an iPhone 7 to the newer model, the XR, and the battery is significantly improved. I have to be honest. Okay, I haven't had any issues with the battery with the new phone. However, I realise it will get to that point in 2 years when it will start to wilt, and so if it's made out of materials that are fully recyclable and are recycled, I have to add that little bit at the end, then great. But they're not.
No, they're not.
Yeah, well, I can't
it's
really comment on
upsetting.
the phone thing because my main phone is an old Nokia communicator from the early 2000s.
Nice.
I like it because it has actual buttons.
Ooh, that's interesting.
Ooh.
You'll have to share that. Oh, I'm sorry. I must go. I don't want to. I need to.
Well, that's okay.
Well, that's quite all right. Although I would like to chat with you more at some point if you fancy coming on again.
Especially if it's this topic.
I'm sure we can have a nice chat about some great environmental issues. I think
Yeah,
we may
come
have
back.
someone else trying to come in, but
Yeah, I didn't realize that today was going to be an environmental awareness day, and I'm a little sad that I actually have programming. You know, usually I'm like, I need programming, I need content, but I feel like I'm distracting from it. So if anyone's watching, keep watching the environmental stuff and watch mine maybe tomorrow. Okay?
you could always put the link to the fundraiser in yours as well.
Oh, I will. I just need the links.
Just 1 second. I will
Okay.
send the fundraiser link to you on the twits
Okay.
as soon as I find the thing. There it
Yeah,
is.
awesome. It doesn't bother me in the slightest if people do like overlapping streams. I know that Secular Sexuality are going to have a, or at least they say they're going to have a shout out tonight in half an hour. And I know Neil's going to be on at the same time.
Right. Yeah, I've sent you the
What
link.
do.
right. So I'll appreciate that, and I will spread that. And I think this is a great topic, and I hope your audience stays with you. And I will talk to you soon.
Take care,
Outstanding.
Faye.
Take
Yeah,
care.
definitely good
Bye.
to have you on.
Yeah,
So,
we should do this again.
So tell me, Mr. Worley, what are you up to?
Oh, that's a bit vague.
You're always up to something.
Oh, don't tell everyone, especially the cops. No, there's a lot going on. Do you mean just generally?
Yeah,
With
just generally.
YouTube and life.
While I
Cool.
think of a relevant topic.
Yeah, don't worry about it. Yeah, I mean, there's a ton of stuff going on. I was trying to. There's too many things to do. There's like too many big projects to do that I'm not capable of yet. Like this might be too big for us to do, but we can signal boost kind of thing. Like I want to make like an atheist/theist based video game, but I'm not quite there yet. You know, I want to live stream Gears of War all of next week because it's been out for like 30 minutes in the UK. On Ultimate, that is. I haven't got it yet. I've only got the regular version out Monday, but I don't think my laptop's quite powerful enough. So it's the ambition to do these things, and I can't.
Well, you seem to be interviewing all the big boys at the moment, so you keep doing that, and I'm sure you'll get somewhere.
Yeah, you know, it's the aim was from the beginning. That sounded a bit like Genesis. Hold on, let me backtrack.
In the beginning.
Yeah. I just wanted to talk to these people. I was just interested, and eventually did get some replies. I got within like my first 9 podcasts that were like October, November, December last year. I had Aaron Ra, David Fitzgerald, Cosmic Skeptic, Richard Carrier, Dan Barker, Sultan Isfan, who stood for president. And it was like, oh shit, I can actually get these people. So I carried on. I went through Lloyd Evans, Hemant Mehta, Daryl Ray, who's actually going to be on Secular Sexuality tonight, and No Illusions. Then it eventually became a lot more of just going around all the people that I thought really had something to actually say. I know people always have words to speak, but actually like a message. So I was really interested in Shannon Q's like multiple sclerosis and how she lives with that. And then it got into that time of year was the time of the first fallout of Non Sequitur. Because of the slave debate thing. And so I had Kyle on, and that was like my first proper serious discussion.
Yeah.
Which is still fun. I think I would happily still talk with Kyle. I just want this issue resolved.
I've said a few times that I will, within reason, talk to just about anyone. There are certain people that I have removed from that anyone list of people I will talk to. You know, there are a very small minority of people that I have kind of said, no, I don't actually want to talk to them, but just about anyone I will have a conversation with as long as we can keep it civil.
Sure, I think it's more to do with the way in which the discussion is had rather than the substance of the actual discussion itself. I mean, I can disagree with various different people, but if they're amicable, if they have the right tone, they're sincere, and they are simply just ignorant or misguided on a particular view, that's far better, in my opinion, than someone who is right but is completely a smug, arrogant so-and-so about it.
Well, that's part of the problem. Is if you're a smug dickhead about it, you're not actually going to convince anyone. Well, you might convince some people, but you'll get further by listening to
Yeah.
people and tailoring what you say to the person you're talking to.
Yeah, I think there's certain people that come to mind immediately, and I don't mean to say that any of the words that we have previously used actually get applied just across, broad brush to particular people.
Mhm.
But Steve McRae or somebody like that probably has a really good point, but they don't convince people because of like sometimes the way in which they come across. And if we are truly rational people, then we will end up just accepting the argument itself, not the way it is said. That's not the way people actually behave. You know?
Well, I've had Steve on for a chat before, and it
As have I.
went perfectly well. Yeah, it went perfectly fine. Yeah, I think I saw yours
Okay.
actually. Had a fairly pleasant chat with him, just because he can be a little confrontational at times, especially on Twitter, which I believe he regards as just it's Twitter. Who gives a shit about Twitter? But I approached him from the position of, here's this guy. I disagree with him, but I'm going to find out what he has to say, and I'm going to tell him what I have to say, and we're going to have a little back and forth about it and see where it goes.
For sure. How did that end out?
It went reasonably well, I thought. Had
good.
a nice chat with him about. It was about the chat I had with him was about the different definitions of the word atheist.
Yeah. That's the main thing. I think when I had him on, it was literally just before the second round of the non sequitur fallout thing happened.
Mm-hmm.
And he had it was very kind. We had some jovial conversations about whether rocks are atheists and things like that, and I remember it being fun. And I don't think I've ever had somebody come off of a particular conversation and sort of look down their nose a bit. They all seemed genuinely enthused when we went into like the lobby afterwards. The thing that people don't see after I've pressed the button and the stream's ended. Everyone seems very genuinely happy with how it goes. So yeah.
Well, something I always enjoy about your streams actually is you don't need to do a behind the scenes sneak peek, because you can hear all the behind the scenes at the start.
Sure.
Well,
that's great. Going, that's what people want.
Your microphone's very quiet. They're going, oh, is it? Let me just adjust this.
Yeah. I think that's also for like a 1 minute of people getting notifications. I think that's why when a video premieres, you have that 2 minute bang, 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 bang music, whatever it is, before you actually end up having your video premiered. And that's to get notifications out there and to get people into the stream before they watch it.
Yeah.
So that little interlude I found is very useful. Just for my own sake, because I can see it coming up on the stream. Yeah,
well, see, it means YouTube doesn't notify people very well. It took.
Oh no!
It took what was the last estimate? About half an hour for it to notify me that my own stream had gone live.
Yeah, I got an email saying that I went live. Why do I need to be told that I'm going live? I know I'm live.
The notifications that I've gone live have been useful to me once or twice in the past when I scheduled a premiere and forgot. And there's everybody in the chat going, "Oh, where's the Badger?"
Oh, yeah. So for premieres, I can understand. It's because I always go live. That's why. Yeah. I found that now that I'm going back into school, because I've been running off of an empty tank for months now. just running through savings. So I've gone back into work and schools, and that just means that I end up spending what will now be a significant amount more of my time trying to do two things. That's just a lot of stuff to do. So
well, there
yeah,
is rather a lot of stuff that people need to keep on top of. So I think sometimes multitasking is important.
yeah, I have to always be very, very considerate, because at least I don't know why I get the impression, but I can only assume that we're both not, married with kin. So, and as such, it's very important for us to try and realize when we're trying to book people in, we have to be flexible. And of course, I can't be as flexible if I'm also, could be getting up at what could be 6 in the morning, could end up finishing training after work 8 p.m. and then going live 9 p.m.
And then go up at 6 in the
where do I
morning,
fit
get
meals
next
into
day,
that? Yeah.
You'll be there eating on your stream. Just go, good evening, everyone. I've done that before, actually.
Oh man, I really try and pick up on the little sounds, and I'm really I get really annoyed when people point out like very obvious things as if I haven't noticed them. Like,
do you know?
It's so annoying.
You know that you're British.
Okay, that's fine. Because that makes me feel so much more intelligent. That's fine. I don't mind that.
I do feel we should mention the fundraiser at this point, actually.
Oh, probably. Yeah. What are we here for?
Yeah. So everyone who's watching and is probably already very much aware of this, but I'll tell you anyway. We are raising funds to try to save the rainforest. There is a link in the description to the fundraising page, which is currently not open, so I can't tell you if I've had any donations because I'm silly.
I very much doubt it.
Let me check this.
Only because there's been various things. I mean, I know there was, and quite rightly, the fundraiser yesterday for Rachel Oates, and that could well have sapped some funds, as I said, quite rightly, because it's the rest. Any spare will go to mental health charities.
Yes,
Rachel doesn't need, so. That's a well-worthy cause. Much like when I was at Atheist Assemble, when Armin and Zara were going off and people were saying, like people would say to them,
was that the thing in London?
Yeah, that was the event in London.
I saw a little bit of that.
Yeah, they were mentioning how a lot of people were having a go at them because they only do like a very specific thing. So people would have a go at Zara saying, why are you only doing this for like a women's group? It's a women's only group, Faithless Hijabi. And it's like, well, it's a bit like saying, well, we've got a cancer fundraiser. And then somebody comes along and says, well, what about AIDS? And it's like, we care about both.
There are a lot of people in the world. There are a lot of different causes, and people need to have a focus sometimes. Like some people will need to focus on specific things and just trust that other people will focus on other things that need focus. If you know what I mean.
Sure.
Like if I'm if I dedicate my life to well, what's a good example? If I dedicate my life to saving orphans of people who've died in traffic accidents, I have to, I would have to focus on that and be satisfied that I have made a contribution and not be constantly berating myself for not also dealing with cancer survivors, You can only do so.
Message.
You can only do so much.
I am, as of about 10 minutes ago, got a message from Jamie Boone of Talk Heathen, Wonderful. So this is a really important point for those that are watching. I don't expect very many donations tonight, but what I could maybe not expect, but what we could do, what's going to have more impact, is signal boost and try to get people's attention, bigger YouTubers. I mean, Jamie here is often on Talk Heathen for 50,000 subs, and they play off a little rivalry between them and Atheist Experience that has about 250,000 subs, and they could raise the money much quicker than we could. And so the best thing we can do is mass tweet and mass Facebook message these people. I mean, within reason, obviously. Don't just spam them. But if they can get lots and lots of messages from lots of different people saying, hey, have you heard about the fundraiser that's going on for the Amazon? Or I think Atheist Experience can raise more money. No, I think Talk Heathen can raise more money. It doesn't even really matter if you make up a fake, like, I mean, the Talk Heathen AXB rivalry is just a fake rivalry anyway. But if you want to try and stir something up in that respect for the donations,
I was rather pleased to see Bionic Dance on Diana's stream. Actually, that was that was very nice.
It was. I don't think it's got any donations from it because it's on a smaller channel. I did try to suggest Kate going live, but she doesn't ever go live, so it's
not on her own channel. I think she's rather tries to keep the focus on pre-prepared stuff.
Yeah. Although, yeah, maybe try something different. I know she was complaining quite rightly about having been on this like 10-year journey or whatever it is, how long she's been on YouTube, and she hasn't grown as much as she should, which is absolutely true. And maybe try something different. Maybe try live stuff, Q&As, different things like that. But going live is a very acquired thing. I noticed from doing both the response video and going live, they are two very, very different things from a creator's perspective.
They are indeed. Pre-prepared video, you've got time to check all your facts and make it all nice and do all your special effects and your cut bits in from other sources to show what you're talking about. Whereas doing it live, it's entirely just, can you entertain the audience with your speaky voice?
Yeah, for sure. It's really, I mean, scripting really helps, but you've got to break it up.
It does, yeah.
If people are trying to, I really need to message Jamie back. Shouldn't delay.
You do that. So
go ahead.
When I do a little bit of rambling. So, Amazon is rather on fire. So that's what the fundraiser is for, everybody. Please do have a follow through of the link in the description and donate if you can. Don't feel too terrible if you can't. Although it is on fire. So,
Yeah, sorry, it's worth mentioning as well that this is man-made. Like,
oh yeah,
not just the whole climate change argument.
It's not just on fire. Humans set it on fire.
Yeah, even if we were wrong about man-made climate change, the Amazon is still on fire because of us. Like, we actually set it alight on purpose for agriculture. It's
not us personally, but humans did.
No, me or Badger didn't, obviously. Nudge, nudge. But but Brazilians did, and the Brazilian president himself, as you would have seen in my video, he's a disgusting human being, and he said various different things about not ever wanting to love a gay son. He's incited rape. He's basically promoted and accelerated the destruction of the rainforests.
He's not the nicest chap ever.
No. I mean, I think it would be wrong of me to suggest this is all because he's a Roman Catholic, but I would like to mention that he is a Roman Catholic and probably claims to be morally superior in
He
some sort of way.
He is a little bit Roman Catholic, isn't he?
Little bit.
Yeah.
Wonderful choice of phrase.
Well, that's the thing. I know a couple of Catholics who are much nicer. I get on with them very well. I had a debate with one Catholic chap actually. Alpha 4. Well, just Alpha 4. The channel name is Alpha 4 IV, so it's Alpha 4 4.
Isn't that the name of a star system?
Oh, it could be. But yeah, he's an interesting chat. He's got a very dry sense of humor. He's for a southern southern states American. He has an almost British sense of humor.
Awesome. Yeah. You do start, as I said, when I'm trying to do the channel, which is like the best way I can find to describe it is trying to attempt to be the Joe Rogan of the atheist community. You end up finding out about so many more people. And I was going to map the entire community out into like who's linked to who, and like who's in the philosophy corner, who's in the agnostics bit, who are the allies, as it were, like Ocean.
Well, if you want to put me somewhere, put me in the Badger corner.
Yeah, the faceless ones that are in hiding.
Well, I've got a face, mate. I'm standing here. I'm on camera. I'm standing next to this deer.
Well, hide your face then.
Oh, the deer's gone. Anyway. So, fundraiser. That's ongoing. We've got the link in the description. I do have I don't want to dedicate too much time in the thing specifically about saving the rainforest to this, but I do feel it is probably necessary to mention briefly recent events.
Sure, of course, yeah.
Just very briefly, what's happened recently and what's a quick take on it. I think you know what I mean.
Yeah. I know you're not talking about Brexit.
Yeah, not that one.
We've done so well. 51 minutes. We haven't mentioned it. Or 48.
There you go. You've started it now, haven't you?
Yeah, we're not going to talk about it though.
We should talk about it another time.
Yeah. I know what you meant. We're talking, I assume, about Rachel.
Yes, I don't want to get into the whole drama aspect of it. I just want to say that it's a very unfortunate situation, and I hope that Rachel's okay and comes out of it on the other side of it okay and feeling better. And I hope that the other people involved learn from it.
Yeah. I'm in a sort of odd place with it in a minute because I realise I agree with everyone's outrage, but I also agree with Cyrus's sympathy and his understanding towards the he, she, they that shall not be named. And it's I do admire that, in that Cyrus has gone through a lot apparently that I didn't know in his life, and he's come out the other side and he's completely the opposite human being, and you can look at a situation like this and actually feel sympathy for both sides, and it really means that ultimately people will justify their actions the way they feel based on the way they are treated. And so the only way we will ever change people's minds is by being kind. And it goes back to what was being said about like people needing to like you before they actually listen to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They don't necessarily
how
have
far
to like you, but they need to at least have a sense
respect.
that there needs to be a measure of respect and a measure of dignity involved in the conversation for them to listen to you.
And yeah, maybe sometimes it feels like if we open up the conversation and we do get that brick wall, then maybe that first conversation makes what appears to us like the tiniest little dent that will one day, maybe years from now, they'll completely change.
Mm-hmm.
And the whole wall will come down because you started that one little conversation. But you would never know.
No, that's another thing I wanted to mention, actually. It's if you're discussing, in my experience at least, if you're discussing things with people, trying to convince them of things, it's not very likely that you will convince them live while talking to them. Because people, if they're in any kind of confrontational situation, people become quite defensive. They'll become rather set in their beliefs more than they would otherwise be. In my experience, that this goes for when I've been convinced of things and when I've seen other people be convinced of things, but it's had to go what's been said later.
I think, yeah, you have to, there's probably a ratio somewhere between the amount that you listen and the amount that you think, because it can take a long time to accept an argument. Like, I think I've accepted, say, a completely different argument that's sort of going on in the comments and live chat. I think I accept Cosmic Skeptic's argument for veganism right now. I don't know too much about the micronutrients stuff. Excuse me, I'm getting hiccups.
Mm-hmm.
But it did take me a while, and I know that some people, including Alex, to some people, can come across the wrong way. They may come across as more militant. I think that's what people mean by militant atheist, is that we come across too unlikable, unrelatable.
Yeah, some people say,
and that's another.
I can at times. I can be a bit of a dickhead.
Yeah, you can.
Wait.
No, you said it'd be rude to disagree with a host on their channel.
Well, the thing with the whole militant atheist, it's the same reason that a lot of people don't take vegans seriously, because if you're coming at trying to convince someone of let's take trying to convince someone that they shouldn't eat animals. Person, look at this poor fluffy creature that you've killed to eat. Then they off. Whereas sensible,
sure,
they might consider it.
Yeah, I quite enjoy the caveats of the conversation, the nuances. Like, would a vegan eat roadkill because there's no pain that's been enforced on the animal from them? Like, it was a complete accident. It could have been driving at night, terrible shame, instant death, whatever it may be. Would a vegan eat that? I mean, they'd probably be against it, but why? You know? It's very interesting just to have the conversation.
From what I've seen on The Simpsons, I think they'd probably be against it. Do you remember that episode of The Simpsons when these those redneck peoples and they go, "Sure, we'll give you a lift. Hop on the back of the truck." And she looks, and it's completely filled with roadkill animals. He scoops up a skunk from the road and chucks it in as she's trying to get on. Watch out for the skunk. Them things can go off even after they's dead.
No, it doesn't ring a bell. It's
Oh,
very
that was a good
Simpsons. Though.
episode.
I do respect the Simpsons.
Anyway, so
Oh,
that,
dear. Right.
that's my terrible southern
We're
accent.
coming up to. Don't worry about it. We're coming up to the hour. Can I quickly
Yeah,
just
indeed. I believe Neil's next, isn't he?
say a little bit, and then we'll have to wind down and head over to Neil's channel.
Indeed. Yeah. So if you do the spiel that needs to be done, then I shall close us down on this end.
Brilliant. So basically, the Amazon's on fire, and we're all going to die. So basically, what we have to do
It's burning.
is end
On
up
fire.
raising funds for what will be the WWF, because they end up helping animals, and the Amazon is home to 10% of the world's species, many of which we may never get to discover because they will die before we get to them. Although technically we've already got to them if they've died. It's our fault, and we're setting it on fire, and we're doing it for agricultural reasons, and the Brazilian president doesn't give a shit. So the best thing we can do is try to promo as much as possible to bigger content creators and bigger names so that they can use their powers to try and feed through the network. One mention on Atheist Experience, and that gives us more money for the fund and for the WWF than anything we can do individually. And as such, the best thing you can probably do is to promote, to retweet, to share, to put it on Facebook, to retweet with comment and that sort of thing. And I sincerely hope that we can get that conversation with Faye together at some point.
Oh yes.
Feels like ages ago we said goodbye to her.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much, Inquisitive Quandary. Apparently, my redneck wasn't half bad. Unless he means
it's pretty good.
Me to say it was fully bad.
Oh, I don't know.
All right. So who is up next? I believe it's
It
Neil,
would be
isn't
Neil. It is.
Right.
Quite.
Give me a second
quite.
while I find Neil's stream. I shall link it in the chat before we close at this end.
Wonderful.
How do I do this thing?
You know what? I'm going to try and find it.
There is Neil's thing.
And Neil hasn't gone live yet.
He's going to make it difficult for me, isn't it? He's going to wait till I stop before he starts,
the
so I can't link
Atheist
anything.
Amazon Fundraiser 604 style is the name of the video. I've got that link. That's now in the live chat. Let's go. Boom.
Right, let me just find that link, and I shall put it in the description of this as well. So if anyone does happen to watch them in order, then they can go over there.
I should definitely make a playlist of all of them.
Oh, that'd be a good idea. Right.
Yeah.
Come on, Neil, where's your live stream?
And then I can put it on my channel. Yay. Okay. Now I've got to work out how to do that. But yeah.
Right, so shall we migrate over there and see what's going on?
Brilliant. Sounds like a plan.
Right. Thank you very much for coming, everyone, and please do donate to the fundraiser if you can. I believe Neil604 Atheist is now taking over duties of the stream. So if everyone could go the stream. Now.